Jake Morrison checked the medical scanner one more time and sighed. Another quiet day at Galactic Medical Station, Kelvar 9. He had been working here for 6 months now, treating minor injuries and common illnesses. Nothing exciting ever happened at this station. It orbited a neutral world far from any conflict zones. He was a medical officer, trained as a combat medic during the border wars. But those days were behind him now. These days, he mostly treated upset stomachs and headaches from various alien species. It was boring work, but it was peaceful. Jake preferred boring over the chaos of war. The station's alarm suddenly blared through the corridors. Red lights flashed along the walls. Jake jumped to his feet and grabbed his medical kit. His training kicked in immediately. He ran toward the emergency bay. All medical personnel to Bay 3, the station's computer announced. Critical patient incoming. Repeat. Critical patient incoming. Jake reached the bay just as a massive ship docked with the station. The vessel was unlike anything he had seen before. It was sleek and dark, covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Vexari design. Jake had never met a Vexari before. They were one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. But they rarely interacted with others. They considered most species beneath them. The airlock opened. A group of tall, elegant aliens rushed through carrying a floating stretcher. Their skin was pale blue, and their eyes were large and golden. They moved with precise, graceful steps. Behind them came more Vexari, all wearing elaborate robes and armor. On the stretcher lay a young Vexari female. Her breathing was shallow and rapid. Dark veins spread across her skin like a web. Jake recognized the signs of severe poisoning immediately. "Clear the way," one of the Vexari physicians barked. His voice was cold and commanding. "Where is your head physician?" Dr. Thalkes, the station's chief medical officer, appeared. He was a Zenthari, a species known for their medical expertise. "I am here. Bring her to Surgical Bay 1. Jake followed the group, staying at a distance. He knew the Vexari would not welcome human involvement. But something about the patient's condition bothered him. Those symptoms looked familiar. Ambassador Lauren Hayes appeared beside him. She was the human diplomatic representative on the station. "Stay back, Jake," she whispered. "That's Princess Sierra Lynn, the heir to the Vexari Empire. If she dies here, there could be war." Jake's eyes widened. This was much bigger than he thought. In the surgical bay, the Vexari physicians worked frantically. They used advanced scanners and injected various medicines into the princess. But nothing seemed to work. The dark veins continued to spread. Her vital signs kept dropping. Thalkes studied the readings carefully. "The toxin is unknown to our database. It is destroying her immune system. Her body cannot fight it." "Then find a cure," the lead Vexari physician snapped. His name was Morkan, according to his uniform. "The Emperor is on his way. If his daughter dies, he will hold this station responsible." Hours passed. Jake watched through the observation window as the medical team tried everything. They used antitoxins, blood filters, and cellular regenerators. Nothing worked. The princess was dying. Jake's mind raced. Those symptoms reminded him of something. During the border wars, he had treated soldiers exposed to nerve toxins. The way the poison spread through the system, shutting down the immune response, was similar. But the treatments that worked on humans would not work on aliens. Or would they? He pulled up his datapad and started searching through medical records. Human blood had unique properties. The antibodies were remarkably adaptable. There were cases where human blood components had helped other species, though it was rare and risky. Jake made a decision. He walked into the surgical bay. "Get out," Morkan said immediately. "Humans are not allowed here." "I think I can help," Jake said calmly. "You?" Morkan laughed bitterly. "Your species barely understands basic medicine. Leave before I have you removed." Number. "Let him speak," Thalkes said. The Zenthari looked exhausted. "We are running out of options," Jake stepped closer to the princess. She looked so young, maybe 20 in human years. Her breathing was barely visible now. The toxin is attacking her immune system. I have seen similar poisons before. On humans. This is a Vexari poison, Morkan said. Not some primitive human toxin. Maybe, Jake said. But the effect is the same. Human blood has antibodies that adapt quickly. They could help her immune system fight back. Morkan stared at him in disbelief. You want to give her human blood? That is insane. Our species are completely different. It could kill her faster. She is already dying, Jake said quietly. At this rate, she has maybe 2 hours left. Jake 7 Deezer. Thalkes looked at the monitors. Jake was right. The princess was failing rapidly. It is too dangerous, Morkan said. We know nothing about human Vexari compatibility. The Emperor would never allow it. The Emperor is not here, Ambassador Hayes said, entering the room. But I am. And I have authority over human personnel on this station. She looked at Jake. Are you sure about this? No, Jake admitted. But I am sure she will die if we do nothing. The ambassador studied him for a long moment. If this fails, it could start a war. The Vexari will blame humanity. I know, Jake said. And if it works, then maybe they will see us differently. Thalkes checked his scanners again. 1 hour and 40 minutes. That is all she has left. Morkan looked at the princess. Jake could see the conflict in his golden eyes. Pride versus desperation. Finally, he nodded. Do it. But if she dies, human, you will answer to the Emperor. Jake rolled up his sleeve. Understood. The medical team worked quickly. They ran compatibility tests while preparing the transfusion equipment. The results were strange. Human and Vexari blood should have been completely incompatible, but the scanners showed unexpected similarities in the genetic structure. It was impossible. But the data did not lie. This makes no sense, Thalkes muttered. Your species evolved on different worlds. There should be no connection. Can we do the transfusion? Jake asked. Theoretically, yes. But there will be risks. For both of you, I understand. They connected Jake to the transfusion system. His blood flowed through filters and processors that would make it safer for the princess. But there was no way to eliminate all the risks. Ambassador Hayes stood nearby, her face tight with worry. Jake, you do not have to do this. Yes, I do, he said. It is what medics do. We help people, no matter who they are. The transfusion began. Jake felt the pull as blood left his body. He watched the monitors showing the princess's vital signs. At first, nothing changed. Then, slowly, the dark veins began to fade. Her breathing became stronger. Her heart rate stabilized. Morkan stared at the monitors in shock. It is working. By the ancestors, it is actually working. But Jake started to feel strange. His vision blurred. Pain shot through his arms and chest. Something was wrong. The alien blood entering his system was triggering a reaction. Jake's vitals are dropping, Doctor, Hayes called out. Thalkes rushed to adjust the machines. The exchange is affecting him. His body is reacting to Vexari genetic material. Stop the transfusion, Ambassador Hayes ordered. Not yet, Jake gasped. She needs more. Just a little more. The pain intensified. Jake's whole body felt like it was on fire. But he kept his arm steady. Through the haze of pain, he watched the princess's color return to normal. The dark veins disappeared completely. Her eyes moved beneath her closed lids. Enough, Thalkes said, cutting the connection. Any more, and you will both die. Jake slumped back on the bed. Medical staff rushed to stabilize him. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was the princess taking a deep, steady breath. She was alive. Jake woke up 3 days later. His whole body ached. The medical bay ceiling above him was white and sterile. Machines beeped softly nearby. He tried to sit up but fell back against the pillow. Easy, a voice said. Dr. Michelle Warren appeared beside his bed. She was a human xenobiologist who worked on the station. You have been through a lot. Your body is still adjusting. The princess? Jake asked. His throat felt dry. Alive. Stable. She woke up yesterday. He breathed out in relief. What happened to me? Michelle pulled up a holographic display. It showed Jake's genetic structure. But something was different. There were new patterns mixed in with his DNA. You absorbed some of her genetic material during the transfusion. Your body is changing on a cellular level. Changing how? We are still learning. But your immune system is stronger. Your blood cells are regenerating faster. You heal quicker now. She paused. The princess has similar changes. She has human genetic markers in her system too. Jake stared at the display. Is that permanent? We think so. You and the princess are genetically bonded now. It has never happened before between two species. The door opened. Ambassador Hayes entered, followed by Commander Kyle Patterson, the station's security chief. They both looked serious. Jake, the ambassador said. The Emperor is here. Jake's stomach dropped. Emperor Vecthar? He arrived this morning with a fleet, 20 warships. He wants to meet you. She sat down beside his bed. He is not happy that a human touched his daughter. But he is grateful she is alive. I cannot predict what he will do. When does he want to meet? In 2 hours. Can you walk? Jake tested his legs. They felt stronger than before. In fact, his whole body felt different. More energetic. Yes. I can walk. Commander Patterson crossed his arms. Jake. The Emperor is one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Show respect. Do not make sudden movements. And for heaven's sake, do not mention that you are genetically bonded to his daughter. Too late for that, Michelle said. The Vexari medical team already knows. They scanned both of them. The ambassador closed her eyes. This keeps getting more complicated. 2 hours later, Jake stood in the station's main diplomatic hall. He wore a clean uniform. His hands were sweating. Around him stood Vexari guards in heavy armor. They watched him with cold, suspicious eyes. The doors opened. Emperor Vecthar entered. He was tall, even for a Vexari, nearly 7 feet. His robes were black and silver, covered in complex symbols. His golden eyes swept across the room and locked onto Jake. The Emperor's presence filled the space. Jake understood immediately why people feared this being. You are the human, the Emperor said. His voice was deep and commanding. Yes, Your Majesty. Jake Morrison. You gave blood to my daughter. I did. Why? Jake met his gaze. Because she was dying. And I could help. You risked your life. You risked war between our species. For what? Fame? Reward? No. I am a medic. Helping people is what I do. The Emperor studied him for a long moment. The Vexari do not accept help from lesser species. We pride ourselves on our superiority. Yet here you stand, a human who did what our finest physicians could not. Your physicians did everything they could, Jake said. The poison was designed to kill Vexari. It needed something different to fight it. And now my daughter carries human genetic material in her veins. She is contaminated. Jake felt anger rising. She is alive. At what cost? The Emperor stepped closer. Do you know what you have done? She is the heir to the Vexari Empire. Her blood must be pure. That is our law, our tradition. Sen. Then your law is wrong, Jake said quietly. The guards tensed. Ambassador Hayes looked terrified, but Jake continued. She is still your daughter. Still the same person. The only thing that changed is she is alive instead of dead. If your traditions say that is wrong, then maybe you need new traditions. The hall went silent. No one spoke to the Emperor like that. Jake expected to be arrested, or worse. Then the Emperor laughed. It was a short, sharp sound. Brave. Foolish, but brave. He turned to his guards. Leave us. Your Majesty, one guard protested. Leave, now. The guards filed out reluctantly. Soon only Jake, the Emperor, and Ambassador Hayes remained. "My daughter wants to meet you," the Emperor said. "She has been asking since she woke up. She says she can feel you." "Feel me?" "The genetic bond. She senses your emotions. Your pain. Can you sense her?" Jake focused. There was something. A faint presence at the edge of his awareness. Curiosity. Gratitude. Fear. Yes. A little. "The physicians say this bond is permanent. You will be connected for life." The Emperor's expression was unreadable. "This is unprecedented. Problematic. But also fascinating." "I did not mean to cause problems," Jake said. "You caused many problems, human. But you also saved my only child. For that, I am in your debt." He turned toward the door. "Come. She is waiting." They walked through the station's corridors. Vexari nobles and officials stared at Jake as they passed. He heard whispers. Most sounded angry. They reached the medical wing. Inside a private room, Princess Sarah Lynn sat up in bed. She looked much better. Her skin glowed with health. Her golden eyes were clear and alert. But Jake could see the changes immediately. There were small differences in her features. More human-like somehow. She saw him and smiled. "You must be Jake Morrison." "Your Highness," Jake bowed awkwardly. "Please, do not bow. You saved my life. I should bow to you." "That is not necessary," Jake said quickly. She laughed. The sound was light and musical. "My father says you are brave." "I agree. Most people are terrified of him." "I am terrified of him," Jake admitted. The Emperor made a sound that might have been amusement. The princess studied Jake carefully. "I can feel you. Your nervousness. Your relief that I am well. It is strange, but not unpleasant. I feel you too, a little. The physicians say we are bonded, genetically linked. That has never happened before." "I know. I am sorry if that causes you trouble." "Trouble?" She tilted her head. "You gave me life. Whatever comes after is worth it." She looked at her father. "I want him protected. If the traditionalists try to harm him, I will not forgive it." "The traditionalists are already calling for his execution," the Emperor said bluntly. "They say he violated you. Contaminated the royal bloodline. Then the traditionalists are fools. They have power, daughter. We cannot ignore them." "I do not care." Her voice was firm. Jake Morrison acted with honor and courage. If our people cannot see that, then we have failed as a civilization. Jake felt warmth from the bond. Pride. Determination. The princess meant what she said. Dr. Michelle Warren entered the room with medical scanners. "Sorry to interrupt, but I need to check both of you." She ran the scanners over the princess first. Her eyes widened. "Your healing rate is incredible. The poison damage is almost completely gone." "I feel strong," the princess said. "Stronger than before." Michelle scanned Jake next. "Same with you. Your cellular regeneration is triple the normal human rate." She looked between them. "Whatever happened during the transfusion, it enhanced both of you." "Enhanced how?" the Emperor asked. "Faster healing, improved immune response, possibly increased strength and endurance. We need more tests to be sure." "No tests," the Emperor said firmly. "This information stays private. If the galaxy learns my daughter has been changed, it will cause chaos. Thanks for watching. And I'm in a sea. When the Nevri likes place on that. Crast. Onamayon. Crast. Crast, Clest. Too late," Commander Patterson said, entering the room. "Word is spreading. Other species are asking questions. The Galactic Council wants an investigation." The Emperor's expression darkened. "Of course they do. There is more," Patterson continued. "We detected an attempted breach in the station's security. Someone tried to access the medical records about the transfusion." "Who?" Jake asked. "Unknown. But whoever it was, they had advanced technology. Possibly Vexari." The princess looked at her father. The assassins. They are still trying. I have guards watching you, the Emperor said. They got past your guards before, she pointed out. Maybe I need different protection. She looked at Jake. So did everyone else in the room. Wait, Jake said. I am not a bodyguard. I am a medic. I am a medic. You were a combat medic, Ambassador Hayes said. You have training. Against human enemies, not alien assassins. The princess stood up from the bed. She moved with fluid grace. I trust you, Jake Morrison. More than I trust my own guards. The bond tells me you would never let harm come to me. Jake felt her certainty through the connection. She truly believed in him. This is insane, he muttered. Welcome to galactic politics, the ambassador said dryly. The Emperor watched his daughter carefully. Then he looked at Jake. Very well. You will stay close to her. But you will also have Vexari guards supporting you. I have a medical station to run, Jake protested. Your government will assign someone else, Ambassador Hayes said. Jake, this is bigger than any of us now. You and the princess are connected. That connection could change everything between humans and Vexari. Or start a war, Jake thought. But he looked at the princess and felt her hope through the bond. Okay, he said. I will do it. The princess smiled. Thank you. Outside the room, angry voices rose. The traditionalists were coming. The Galactic Council sent investigators 3 days later. They arrived with scanners, databases, and enough questions to fill a library. Jake sat through hours of interviews. So did Princess Cira Lynn. The scientists wanted to understand how two completely different species could share blood. Dr. Brandon Chen led the human research team. He was a genetic specialist from Earth, brought in specifically for this case. He worked alongside Vexari scientists in a temporary laboratory set up on the station. Jake watched them through the observation window. The Vexari and human scientists barely spoke to each other. They worked on opposite sides of the lab, sharing data reluctantly. They hate this, Princess Cira Lynn said beside him. She had insisted on watching the research too. Can you blame them? Jake replied. Everything they believed about Vexari superiority just got challenged. It is hard for my people to accept they might be wrong. She touched the window glass. We have ruled ourselves superior for thousands of years. Learning we share ancestry with humans is difficult. Do we, though? Share ancestry? That is what they are trying to find out. Inside the lab, Dr. Chen suddenly stood up. He stared at his screen, then ran more tests. A Vexari scientist noticed and came over. They looked at the data together, then both of them called the others. Something happened, Jake said. 5 minutes later, Dr. Chen and the lead Vexari scientist, a female named Kesra, entered the observation room. Both looked shaken. We found something, Dr. Chen said. Something impossible. What is it? The princess asked. Kesra activated a holographic display. It showed 2 genetic sequences side by side. One human, one Vexari. These are your base genetic structures. Different in many ways. But look here. She highlighted specific sections. These markers are identical. Jake leaned closer. What does that mean? It means both species share common genetic origin points, Dr. Chen explained. Not recent, very ancient, maybe 50,000 years ago or more. That is impossible, the princess said. Humans evolved on Earth. Vexari evolved on Vex Prime. Our worlds are thousands of light years apart. Which means, Kesra said slowly, neither species evolved naturally on those worlds. We were both seeded there by someone else. The room went silent. A precursor race, Jake said. An ancient civilization that spread genetic material across the galaxy. It is the only explanation that fits the data, Dr. Chen said. But it changes everything we know about galactic history. The door burst open. High Inquisitor Morvax strode in, followed by armed guards. He was an older Vexari with silver skin and cold eyes. His robes marked him as a political leader, not a scientist. This research stops now, he declared. You have no authority here. Princess Cyrillin said coldly. I have authority from the Council of Elders. This human contamination ends today. He pointed at Jake. You will be removed from the station. The princess will undergo genetic cleansing. Genetic cleansing? Jake felt anger surge through him. You mean you want to remove the human genetic material from her body? That could kill her. Better pure death than contaminated life, Morvax said. The princess stepped forward. I refuse. You do not have a choice, princess. The elders have decided. My father is the emperor. He decides. The emperor is returning to Vex Prime for emergency council meetings. In his absence, we rule. Morvax smiled coldly. Guards, remove the human. The guards moved toward Jake. He backed up, but there was nowhere to go. Then the princess moved. She was fast. Faster than should be possible. She stepped between Jake and the guards. Her hand shot out and grabbed one guard's weapon. In one smooth motion, she twisted it free and held it pointed at Morvax. Everyone froze. You will not touch him, she said quietly. Morvax's eyes widened. You dare threaten me? I dare protect someone under my care. Jake Morrison saved my life. He is under royal protection. Anyone who harms him answers to me. You are not yourself, princess. The human contamination has made you irrational. No, it made me see clearly. She lowered the weapon but did not return it. This investigation continues. We will learn the truth about our origins. And you will not interfere. Morvax glared at her. The elders will hear about this. Good. Tell them their princess has found her courage. The Inquisitor left, his guards following. But Jake saw the look in his eyes. This was not over. Over the next week, the research continued. More evidence piled up. The ancient genetic markers were undeniable. Somewhere in the distant past, humans and Vexari had shared a common ancestor. An advanced civilization had spread life across the galaxy, then disappeared. But not everyone wanted to accept the truth. Attacks started small. Data corruption in the research files. Equipment malfunctions. Anonymous threats sent to the scientists. Then they became bolder. Jake noticed the changes in himself and the princess. He healed faster now. A cut that should take days closed in hours. He felt stronger. More aware. His reflexes improved. The princess showed similar enhancements. She moved like a fighter now, precise and quick. Her guards struggled to keep up with her during practice sessions. The genetic bond is adapting both of us, Dr. Chen explained. Taking the best traits from each species and enhancing them. Is that normal? Jake asked. Nothing about this is normal, but it seems to be stabilizing. You are both healthier and stronger than before. Late one night, Jake was reviewing medical reports in his quarters when he felt it. Fear. Not his own. The princess's fear. Coming through the bond. He ran. His enhanced speed carried him through the corridors faster than he thought possible. He reached the princess's quarters and found the door forced open. Inside, 4 figures in dark suits fought with the princess's guards. They were fast and trained. 2 guards were already down. The princess fought 2 attackers at once. Her movements fluid and deadly, but she was being pushed back toward her bedroom. Jake grabbed a guard's fallen weapon. He had never fired a Vexari gun before, but his hands seemed to know what to do. He aimed and fired. The energy bolt hit one attacker in the shoulder. The figure spun and fell. The other attackers turned toward him. One fired back. Jake dove behind a pillar. The bolt scorched the wall where his head had been. He felt the princess's determination through the bond. She used the distraction to strike. Her kick connected with one attacker's chest, sending them crashing through a table. Jake fired again, keeping the remaining attackers busy. The princess moved like water, flowing around attacks and striking back. Together, without planning or coordination, they fought as a team. The attackers realized they were losing. One threw a smoke device. Dark clouds filled the room. When it cleared, the attackers were gone. They had escaped through the ventilation system. The princess stood in the center of the room, breathing hard. She looked at Jake. You came. I felt you needed help. I did. She smiled despite the danger. Thank you. Commander Patterson arrived with security forces moments later. They secured the area and tended to the wounded guards. Patterson examined the unconscious attacker Jake had shot. This is one of Morvax's people, he said grimly. I recognize the uniform under the suit. The Inquisitor tried to have me killed. The princess said. We cannot prove it. He will claim these were rogue elements. Then we find proof, Jake said. Dr. Chen appeared in the doorway, out of breath. We have a problem. Someone deleted 3 weeks of research data. All the evidence of the genetic connection is gone. Backed up copies? Patterson asked. Also deleted. Every file, every server. Whoever did this was thorough. The princess's expression hardened. Morvax wants to bury the truth. If we have no evidence, the council will side with him. We still have the physical samples, Dr. Chen said. Your blood and Jake's. We can recreate the research. How long? Jake asked. Weeks. Maybe months. We do not have that time, the princess said. My father returns tomorrow. Morvax will present his version of events. He will claim I am unstable, contaminated, unfit to rule. Jake felt her despair through the bond. Then we need a different approach. What do you mean? We show the council what the genetic bond can do. Not through data and research, but through action. He gestured between them. We fought together just now. Without training or practice. The bond let us coordinate perfectly. The princess understood. We demonstrate the enhancement. Prove that human Vexari cooperation makes both species stronger. It is risky, Patterson warned. If you fail, it supports Morvax's claims. And if we do nothing, he wins anyway, the princess said. She looked at Jake. Are you willing? Through the bond, he felt her hope, her trust. Yes. Dr. Chen pulled up a holographic display. If you are going to demonstrate the bond, you need to understand it better. The empathic connection is just the beginning. Our scans show your neural patterns are synchronizing. With practice, you might achieve something close to telepathy. How do we practice? Jake asked. Trust each other. Open your minds to the connection. Let it grow stronger. The princess held out her hand. Jake took it. The moment they touched, the bond flared. He felt her emotions clearly now. Determination, fear, hope, and something else. Respect, maybe even friendship. She felt his emotions too. He could tell from her expression. This is incredible, she whispered. And dangerous. Dr. Chen said. The closer you become, the more vulnerable you are to each other's pain. If one of you is hurt, the other will feel it. We understand the risks, the princess said, not releasing Jake's hand. Patterson's communicator beeped. He checked it and frowned. The Emperor's ship just entered the system. He will dock in 3 hours. Then we have 3 hours to prepare, the princess said. She finally released Jake's hand. Morvax will make his move during the meeting. We need to be ready, Jake nodded. Through the bond, he felt her certainty. This was going to change everything. For better or worse, tomorrow would determine the future of 2 species. He just hoped they were strong enough to face it. The Galactic Council chamber was massive. Hundreds of species gathered in circular tiers around a central platform. Holographic displays floated everywhere, showing data and testimony in real time. Jake had never felt smaller. He stood beside Princess Sarah Lynn at the witness platform. Above them, Council Speaker Tyre Och presided over the session. The speaker was an ancient being, thousands of years old, from a species that looked like living crystal. This session addresses the unprecedented genetic bonding between human Jake Morrison and Princess Sarah Lynn of the Vexari Empire, Tyre Och announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. The council must determine if this bonding was natural or engineered. In the upper tiers, Emperor Vecthar sat with his advisors. His face showed no emotion. Jake could not tell what the Emperor was thinking. Morvax stood at the opposition platform. Honored Council, I present evidence that this human deliberately infected our princess. This was an act of biological warfare designed to undermine the Vexari Empire. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Jake felt the princess's anger through the bond. But she kept her face calm. "That is a serious accusation," Tyroch said. "Present your evidence." Morvax activated a holographic display. It showed genetic data, supposedly proving that human blood carried engineered markers. This human's blood was modified to bond with Vexari genetics. No natural human blood would show these patterns. Jake leaned toward Dr. Chen, who sat in the human delegation section. Chen shook his head. The data was false. Furthermore, Morvax continued, "We have testimony from station personnel that this human sought access to the princess's medical records before the poisoning incident. He knew she would be vulnerable. He planned this attack." "That is a lie," Jake said loudly. "Silence," Tyroch commanded. "You will have your turn to speak," Morvax smiled. "The contamination of our princess's bloodline cannot stand. I propose immediate genetic cleansing and the arrest of Jake Morrison for crimes against the Vexari Empire." The council members murmured among themselves. Some looked convinced by Morvax's presentation. Tyroch turned to the princess. "Princess Sarah Lynn, you may now present your testimony." She stepped forward. Jake felt her nervousness through the bond, but also her determination. "Honored Council, I stand before you alive because of Jake Morrison. I was dying. Our own physicians could not save me. This human risked his life to help me when he had every reason not to." "He contaminated you," Morvax interrupted. "He saved me," she said firmly. "And in doing so, we discovered something remarkable. Something that changes our understanding of galactic history." She activated her own display. It showed the genetic research before it was destroyed. Dr. Chen had managed to recover some fragments. Humans and Vexari share common genetic ancestors. An ancient civilization seeded both our worlds. The Inquisitor knows this. That is why he destroyed the research data. Morvax's expression flickered. "That data is incomplete. Unreliable. It is the truth," the princess said. "A truth that threatens your political power. Because if Vexari are not superior, if we are simply another species in the galaxy, then your entire philosophy collapses." "You are not thinking clearly," Morvax said. "The human contamination has affected your mind. My mind is clearer than ever." She looked at the council. "I have changed. I am stronger, faster, more resilient. The genetic bond enhanced me. It proved that cooperation between species makes us all better. Or it proves you are no longer Vexari," Morvax said coldly. "You are a hybrid, an abomination, unfit to rule." The council chamber erupted in arguments. Some supported Morvax. Others defended the princess. The noise grew overwhelming. Tyroch raised one crystalline hand. Silence fell immediately. "Princess, the Inquisitor raises a valid concern. Can you prove your loyalty to your people, despite your changed nature?" The princess was quiet for a moment. Jake felt her internal struggle through the bond. She was being asked to choose. Her throne, or the truth. Her heritage, or him. She made her decision. "I cannot prove loyalty to people who value purity over truth," she said. "If being Vexari means rejecting those who help us, then perhaps I do not want to be Vexari anymore." Shock rippled through the chamber. Even the Emperor's eyes widened. "I renounce my claim to the throne," the princess continued. "If that is what it takes to protect Jake Morrison, and prove that our species can work together." "No," Jake said quickly. He stepped forward. "You do not have to do this." Yes I do," she said through the bond. "Then I will leave," Jake said aloud. "I will accept exile. Return to Earth. Whatever it takes to preserve peace between our species." "That solves nothing," the princess said. "It solves everything," Jake replied. "You keep your throne. The Vexari keep their pride. I go home. Everyone wins, except I lose you," she said quietly. The bond carried her pain. Not romantic love, but something deeper. The connection they shared. Losing him would be like losing part of herself. Better that than war, Jake said. Emperor Vecthar stood. The entire chamber fell silent. Enough. He walked down to the central platform. His presence dominated the space. My daughter offers to abandon her birthright for a human. This human offers exile to save her. Such sacrifice deserves recognition, not punishment. Your Majesty. Morvax began. Be silent, Inquisitor. The Emperor's voice was ice. I have watched you manipulate this council with lies and fear. No more. He turned to address everyone. Jake Morrison saved my daughter's life. He asked for nothing, expected nothing. That is honor. That is nobility. If Vexari traditions cannot recognize such virtue, then our traditions are worthless. He placed a hand on the princess's shoulder. My daughter has shown more courage today than all of the council combined. She chose truth over comfort. She chose cooperation over isolation. He looked at Jake. And this human showed that sometimes the bravest act is simple kindness. The genetic contamination remains, Morvax said desperately. There is no contamination. Emperor Vecthar said. Only evolution. Only growth. I propose a formal alliance between the Vexari Empire and humanity. Let our species work together. Learn from each other. Become stronger together. The chamber exploded with reactions. Some cheered. Others protested. The noise was deafening. Then the lights went out. Emergency systems activated, bathing everything in red light. Alarms blared. Jake's enhanced senses kicked in. He heard movement, lots of movement. Coup. Commander Patterson's voice came through the communication system. Armed forces breaching the council chamber. All delegates take cover. Figures in dark armor burst through the doors. They carried heavy weapons. Jake counted at least 20 attackers. They moved with military precision toward the central platform. Toward the Emperor and the Princess. Jake did not think. He grabbed the Princess and pulled her behind a barrier just as energy bolts tore through where she had been standing. The Emperor dove in the opposite direction, his own guards forming a protective wall. Morvax, the Princess said. This is his doing. Jake felt her certainty through the bond. The Inquisitor had planned this. If he could not convince the Council, he would take power by force. More attackers poured in. Council members screamed and ran for exits. Human security forces and Vexari royal guards engaged the attackers. The chamber became a battlefield. Jake spotted a fallen guard's weapon. He grabbed it and checked the charge. Full. Stay down, he told the Princess. Not a chance, she replied. She took a weapon from another fallen guard. They moved together without speaking. The bond guided them. Jake fired from cover while the Princess repositioned. She drew enemy fire while he flanked. They fought like they had trained together for years. An attacker rushed their position. Jake felt the Princess's intent through the bond a split second before she moved. He ducked. She vaulted over him and kicked the attacker in the chest. The figure flew backward into two others. 3 more attackers converged on them. Jake and the Princess stood back to back. He fired left while she fired right. Their movements synchronized perfectly. When Jake needed to reload, the Princess covered him. When she shifted position, he filled the gap. The bond made them one fighter with 2 bodies. Captain Ryan Mitchell appeared with human special forces. We have got the exits secured. These attackers are trapped. Where is Morvax? The Princess demanded. Unknown. He disappeared when the fighting started. Jake closed his eyes and focused on the bond. The Princess did the same. Together, they extended their senses. Enhanced perception spread through the chamber. There, a hidden passage behind the speaker's platform. He is trying to escape, Jake said. They ran. Mitchell and his team followed. Behind them, the battle continued. But the attackers were losing. Combined human and Vexari forces were overwhelming them. They reached the hidden passage. It was dark and narrow. Jake's enhanced vision cut through the darkness. He saw Morvax ahead. Running. "Stop," the princess commanded. Morvax spun. He held a weapon pointed at them. "Stay back. This is not over. The old ways will prevail." "The old ways are dead," the princess said. "You killed them with your fear and hatred. I tried to save our people from contamination. You tried to save your own power." Jake said, "You do not care about the Vexari. You only care about control." Morvax's hand shook. "If I cannot rule, no one will." He pressed something on his wrist. An explosion rocked the passage behind them. The ceiling began to collapse. Jake and the princess ran back toward Mitchell's team. Debris fell around them. The Bond screamed warnings. Jake felt where the princess needed to be and pushed her that way. She felt his intention and pulled him clear of a falling support beam. They burst out of the passage just as it collapsed completely. Morvax was buried somewhere in the rubble. In the main chamber, the fighting had stopped. The attackers were captured or dead. Emperor Vecthar stood unharmed, surrounded by guards. He saw his daughter and relief crossed his face. Tyroke surveyed the damage. "This session is concluded. The Council recognizes the attempt to overthrow legitimate authority. All evidence points to High Inquisitor Morvax as the orchestrator. He is dead," the princess reported, "buried in the collapse. Then justice is served." Tyroke looked at Jake and the princess. "Your coordinated defense saved many lives today. The bond between you proved its worth." Emperor Vecthar approached them. "My daughter? You fought well." "I fought with Jake," she said. "Together we are stronger." The Emperor nodded slowly. "I see that now." He addressed the Council. "I renew my proposal. A formal alliance between Vexari and humanity. Let today's events prove that cooperation benefits all." 3-5. Quote. Tyroch consulted with other council members. Finally, he spoke. "The Council approves. Let the alliance be formalized." Cheers erupted from the human and Vexari delegations. Ambassador Hayes looked stunned, but pleased. Dr. Chen was grinning. The princess looked at Jake through the bond. Relief, joy, hope. "We did it," she said softly. "We did," Jake agreed, but he knew this was only the beginning. 6 months had passed since the council session. The galaxy had changed in ways no one predicted. Jake stood on the observation deck of the Joint Research Station orbiting Vex Prime. Through the massive windows, he watched human and Vexari ships patrol together. 6 months ago, such cooperation would have been impossible. Now it was routine. "You are up early," Princess Sarah Lynn said, joining him at the window. She wore a simple uniform now instead of royal robes. She had taken on a new role as special envoy for species relations. "Could not sleep," Jake admitted. "Too much on my mind." Through the bond, she felt his unease. The mission. Yes, they were scheduled to depart in 3 days, a joint expedition to search for the precursor homeworld. The ancient civilization that had seeded both their species. It was the biggest scientific mission in galactic history, and potentially the most dangerous. "Having second thoughts?" she asked. "No, just nervous. We have no idea what we will find out there. We will face it together." She smiled. "Like we face everything now." The past 6 months had been intense. After the alliance was formalized, everything changed quickly. The Vexari opened their technology archives to humanity. Humans shared their medical knowledge and adaptability training with the Vexari. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges began. Not everyone was happy about it. Some Vexari still believed in species superiority. Some humans feared Vexari domination. But the alliance held. Mostly because Jake and the princess proved it could work. They had become symbols. The human and the Vexari, bonded by blood, working together. They traveled the galaxy, mediating disputes, demonstrating cooperation, showing what was possible when species chose unity over division. It was exhausting but rewarding work. Ambassador Hayes sent the final mission roster, Jake said. We have a good team. Scientists from 12 different species. Security from both our militaries. Dr. Chen is excited, the princess said. He believes the precursor homeworld will answer so many questions. Or create new ones, Jake said. His communicator beeped. It was Captain Mitchell. Jake? We have a situation. Meeting in conference room 7 in 10 minutes. On our way, Jake replied. They hurried through the station corridors. Other personnel nodded respectfully as they passed. Jake was still getting used to the recognition. He was no longer just a medic. He was Special Liaison Morrison, advisor to both human and Vexari governments. Emperor Vecthar had officially adopted Jake into Vexari nobility 3 months ago. The ceremony was elaborate and strange. Jake now had a title he could barely pronounce, and legal status, in 2 civilizations. It felt surreal. They reached the conference room. Inside, Captain Mitchell, Ambassador Hayes, Dr. Chen, and several other officials waited. They all looked serious. What happened? The princess asked. Mitchell activated a holographic display. It showed a chemical analysis. We traced the poison that was used on you 6 months ago, the one that started everything. Morvax obtained it, Jake said. We know that. Yes. But we did not know where he got it. Mitchell highlighted specific compounds. This toxin does not exist naturally anywhere in known space. It was engineered. By who? The princess asked. That is the problem, Dr. Chen said. The molecular structure contains markers we have never seen before. Whoever made this has technology beyond anything we know. Jake felt a chill. The precursors? Possibly. Or their enemies. Dr. Chen pulled up more data. We have been analyzing the genetic evidence from both your species. The precursor civilization did not just seed your worlds and leave. They were running, hiding. Something was chasing them, and that something might still be out there, Ambassador Hayes said quietly. That is speculation, one of the Vexari officials said. We have no proof of an active threat. The poison is proof, Mitchell said. Someone used precursor technology to create a weapon specifically designed to kill Vexari. They tested it on the princess. Why? Jake asked. Maybe to start a war, the princess said. If I had died, and humans were blamed, Vexari and humanity would have destroyed each other. Leaving the galaxy weakened, Mitchell finished. Perfect timing for an invasion. The room went silent as everyone absorbed the implications. We need to accelerate the mission timeline, Ambassador Hayes said. If there is a threat out there, we need to know what we are facing. Agreed, the Vexari official said. I will inform the Emperor. The meeting continued for 2 more hours. Plans were revised. Security was increased. The mission that had been about scientific discovery became something else. A scouting mission, maybe even a military operation. When they finally left the conference room, Jake and the princess walked in silence for a while. This changes things, she said. Yes, we might be flying into danger. We knew that was possible. She stopped and looked at him. Are you afraid? Jake considered the question. Through the bond, he felt her own fear, but also her determination. Yes. But I am going anyway. Because you have to. Because we have to. He smiled slightly. Someone once told me that the strongest bonds form through shared struggle. I think we are about to share a lot more struggle. A key dozer. I key dozers. I might shares bonds forming. She laughed despite the tension. That does sound like something I would say. They continued walking. The station was busy with preparations. Ships were being loaded with supplies. Scientists were packing equipment. Soldiers were running drills. Admiral Nicole Bradford appeared from a side corridor. She was the human military commander assigned to the mission. Morrison, Princess. Good, I was looking for you. We have 3 new species requesting to join the expedition. Which ones? The princess asked. The Korath, the Milani, and surprisingly, the Zenthari. Jake was surprised. The Zenthari were Thalkes's species. They rarely left their medical stations. Why would the Zenthari want to come? They have been studying your genetic bond, Bradford said. They believe precursor technology might help them cure diseases that have plagued their people for generations. Thalkes specifically requested to join the mission. Tell them yes, the princess said. We can use their medical expertise. Done. Bradford consulted her datapad. We are also getting requests from dozens of species for human medical assistance. Word has spread about the unique properties of human blood. Everyone wants access. We cannot help everyone, Jake said. I know. But we need to establish protocols. Figure out which cases are genuine medical need versus political maneuvering. It was another complication. Human blood had become valuable. Not in a good way. There were already reports of black market trading. Criminals trying to steal human genetic material. It was a mess. We will work on it after the mission, Jake said. Right now, we focus on the precursors. Bradford nodded and left to continue preparations. That evening, Emperor Vekthar summoned Jake and his daughter to the royal quarters. The emperor looked older than 6 months ago. The stress of reforming an entire empire had taken its toll. Tomorrow, you depart, he said. I wanted to speak with you before you go. Father, the princess said warmly. Daughter, and Jake. He gestured for them to sit. I have been thinking about how much has changed. 6 months ago, I would have ordered your execution, Jake, simply for touching my daughter. I remember, Jake said carefully. Now I see you as family, as someone who gave my daughter life and gave my empire hope. The emperor smiled slightly. It is humbling to realize how wrong I was. You were not wrong to protect your people, Jake said. You were just protecting them from the wrong things. Wise words. The emperor pulled out a small case. Inside were 2 identical devices. They looked like communication units but more advanced. These are for you. Experimental technology. They will enhance the bond between you. How? The princess asked. They create a quantum link. Even across vast distances, you will sense each other. Feel each other. It might help keep you safe. Jake took one of the devices. It was warm to the touch. Thank you, Your Majesty. Do not thank me yet. Thank me when you return safely. The Emperor's expression became serious. This mission is important, but you are more important. Both of you, do not take unnecessary risks. We will be careful, the princess promised. After leaving the royal quarters, Jake and the princess walked through the gardens. The Vexari capital city spread below them, lights glittering in the darkness. Your father has changed, Jake observed. So have I. So have you. So has everyone. She looked at the city. 6 months ago, this was a place of rigid tradition and species pride. Now we have humans walking our streets, learning our language, teaching us theirs. Is it better? Different. Sometimes difficult. But yes, better. She turned to face him. You know what I realized? When you gave me your blood, you did not just save my life. You saved my people. You freed us from our own limitations. I was just trying to help one person. And you helped billions. She smiled. That is the thing about compassion, Jake. You never know how far it will reach. They stood in comfortable silence, the bond connecting them. Over 6 months, it had grown stronger. They could communicate without words now. Share thoughts and feelings across distances. It was intimate in a way that transcended romance or friendship. They were 2 parts of one whole. The next morning, Jake packed his few belongings. He had never accumulated much. The life of a medic meant traveling light. He looked around his quarters one last time. A message appeared on his datapad. From his mother back on Earth. She had watched the news about his adoption into Vexari nobility. She was proud but worried. He sent a quick reply, promising to stay safe. The launch bay was crowded when he arrived. Their ship, the Horizon Seeker, was a joint design. Human engineering, combined with Vexari technology. It was beautiful and powerful. The crew was already boarding. Jake recognized many faces. Dr. Chen with his research team, Captain Mitchell with security forces. Thalkes, representing the Zenthari, scientists from a dozen species, all eager to uncover the secrets of the precursors. Princess Sarah Lynn stood at the boarding ramp. She had changed into a flight suit. Her hair was tied back practically. She looked ready for anything. "Last chance to back out," she said with a slight smile. "Not a chance," Jake replied. They boarded together. The ship's interior was spacious and well-equipped. Every species had their own quarters designed for their needs. The bridge was a marvel of cooperative design. With stations for mixed crews, Captain Bradford was already in the command chair. "Everyone aboard. Final system checks complete. We are ready to launch." Jake and the princess took their positions at the liaison station. Through the viewports, they could see the gathered crowd. Thousands had come to watch the departure. Humans and Vexari standing together. Emperor Vecthar was there, watching his daughter leave. Ambassador Hayes stood beside him. Two leaders of different species, united in hope. "Horizon Seeker, you are cleared for departure," the station's traffic control announced. The ship lifted smoothly. They rose through Vex Prime's atmosphere, breaking through clouds into the darkness of space. Behind them, the planet grew smaller. Ahead, the unknown awaited. Dr. Chen appeared on the bridge. "I have been analyzing the precursor coordinates we discovered. The journey will take approximately 3 weeks at maximum speed. 3 weeks to find answers that have been hidden for 50,000 years, the princess said. "Or 3 weeks to find new questions," Jake added. "Either way," Bradford said, "we are making history." Jake activated the quantum link device the Emperor had given him. He felt the bond with the princess strengthen immediately. They could face whatever was coming. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel. Stars stretched into lines of light around them. They were leaving known space behind, heading into the great unknown. Jake thought about the journey that brought him here. 6 months ago, he was a simple medic working a boring job. He gave blood to a dying alien because it was the right thing to do. He never imagined it would lead to this. An alliance between species, a bond that transcended biology. A mission that might determine the fate of the galaxy. "What are you thinking about?" the princess asked, through the bond. "How one small decision changed everything." "Your decision to save me." "Yes. Do you regret it? All the complications it brought?" Jake looked at her. Through the bond, he felt her genuine concern. She wanted him to be happy. After everything they had been through, she still worried about him. "No," he said honestly. "I would do it again. Every time." She smiled. "Good, because I would hate to find another genetic bond partner." They both laughed. The tension of the moment broke. Around them, the crew worked efficiently. Human, Vexari, and others, all cooperating toward a common goal. This was what they had built. Not just an alliance of governments, but a fellowship of beings who chose to trust each other, who chose cooperation over conflict, who chose hope over fear. The ship raced through the darkness toward ancient secrets, toward possible danger, toward the unknown. But Jake was not afraid. He had the princess beside him. He had a crew of brave souls backing him. He had learned that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest changes. One human gave his blood to save a dying alien princess, and everything changed. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly how it should be.